It was past midnight, and the house was unusually quiet. My parents had gone out of town for the weekend, leaving me in charge of the place. At first, I was thrilled: freedom, movies, snacks, and no curfews. But as the clock ticked deeper into the night, the silence became unsettling. The only sound came from the faint hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. I sat on the living room couch, scrolling through my phone, trying to distract myself. The dim glow of the lamp cast long shadows across the room, and every creak of the wooden floor made my heart jump. Then I heard it, a faint thud from upstairs. I froze. The sound was soft but distinct, like something heavy had been dropped. My mind raced to rationalize it. Maybe it's just the house settling, I whispered to myself, though my voice sounded shaky even to me. I turned up the TV volume, hoping the sound would drown out my growing unease. But then it happened again. This time it was louder, like footsteps. Someone or something was upstairs. I grabbed my phone and opened the camera, switching it to record mode. My heart pounded as I stood up, my legs trembling beneath me. Slowly, I crept toward the staircase, every step feeling like a betrayal to the silence. "Hello," I called out, my voice barely above a whisper. "Is someone there?" No response. I reached the bottom of the stairs and looked up. The hallway was dark, the light bulb flickering faintly. I cursed myself for not changing it earlier. Taking a deep breath, I started climbing the stairs, my hand gripping the banister tightly. The air felt colder as I ascended. When I reached the top, I hesitated. My bedroom door was slightly ajar, though I was certain I'd left it closed. The sound of my own breathing was deafening as I slowly pushed the door open. The room was empty. I exhaled in relief, laughing nervously at my paranoia. "See? Nothing to worry about," I muttered, trying to convince myself. I checked the windows; they were locked. The closet empty. As I turned to leave, something caught my eye. On my desk, there was a small handprint smeared on the window glass. It wasn't mine. It was too small. The breath caught in my throat. Suddenly, I heard the faintest giggle. It was soft, almost playful, but it didn't belong in my empty house. I spun around, my phone shaking in my hand as I pointed the camera toward the closet again. The door was still open, and nothing seemed out of place. But then, I noticed the clothes inside swaying, as if someone had brushed past them. Panic surged through me. I stumbled backward, nearly tripping over myself as I bolted out of the room and down the stairs. My phone slipped from my hand, clattering onto the floor. In the living room, I grabbed the nearest thing I could find, a fireplace poker, and clutched it tightly. My eyes darted to every shadow, every corner of the room. The giggle came again, this time louder, closer. "Who's there?" I screamed, my voice breaking. No answer. Then the lights flickered. The lamp in the living room went out, plunging the room into darkness. I fumbled to turn on the flashlight on my phone, but my hands were shaking so badly that I dropped it again. From the corner of the room, I saw movement. A shadow, small and quick, darting toward the kitchen. My stomach churned as I realized whatever it wasn't leaving. It was playing with me, summoning every ounce of courage I had left. I followed the shadow into the kitchen. The flashlight from my phone illuminated the countertops and the sink, but the room was empty. And then, behind me, I heard a soft, childlike voice. "Why won't you play with me?" I spun around, my flashlight landing on a figure standing in the corner. It was a little girl, no older than 7. Her hair was tangled, and her dress was torn and dirty, but her eyes were hollow, empty black pits that seemed to stare straight through me. I screamed, stumbling backward into the counter. The girl tilted her head, a chilling smile spreading across her face. Before I could move, the lights flickered on again. The girl was gone. The room was silent. I didn't wait to see if she'd return. Grabbing my phone and keys, I ran out of the house, not stopping until I was in my car with the doors locked. The house loomed in the rearview mirror as I sped down the street. I didn't go back that night or the next. When my parents returned, they found me staying at a friend's house, refusing to set foot in the place. To this day, I don't know what I saw, but every time I'm alone at night, I can still hear that giggle in the back of my mind, and it sends chills down my spine. I always considered myself brave. Staying alone at home? No problem. I had done it 100 times before. But that night was different, terrifyingly different. It was a Friday evening, and my parents had left for an overnight trip to visit my aunt in the neighboring town. I stayed behind because I had a major project due for work. Our house was in a quiet suburban neighborhood, the kind where you could leave your doors unlocked and still feel safe. After finishing dinner, I settled in the living room with my laptop, headphones on, working on my project. The night was unusually quiet, except for the occasional rustle of leaves from the wind. Around 10 p.m., I heard it for the first time, a faint thud from upstairs. First, I brushed it off. Probably just the wind, I told myself, though the sound seemed too deliberate for that. I paused my music and listened carefully. Nothing. Relieved, I went back to work. About 15 minutes later, there it was again. A soft, steady creak, as if someone was walking across the floor upstairs. My heart skipped a beat. The house was old. It could be the wooden floorboards expanding. But deep down, I wasn't convinced. Grabbing my phone, I turned on the flashlight and headed upstairs. "Hello," I called out, my voice trembling slightly. Silence. I checked every room, my bedroom, the guest room, the bathroom. Everything was in its place. No open windows, no signs of an intruder. I returned downstairs, my nerves on edge. To calm myself, I locked all the doors and windows, something I hadn't bothered to do before. By now, it was almost midnight. As I sat back at my laptop, I heard a sound that froze me in my seat. It wasn't upstairs this time. It was coming from the kitchen. A slow, deliberate scraping noise, like metal against metal. With shaking hands, I grabbed the first thing I could use as a weapon, a heavy glass paperweight from the coffee table, and crept toward the kitchen. The light was off, but the scraping noise continued. I peeked around the corner, expecting to find, I didn't even know what, but the kitchen was empty. The sound had stopped. My paranoia was now in overdrive. I checked the locks on the back door and windows again, still secure. Trying to steady my breathing, I told myself I was imagining things. "You're just tired," I muttered. I returned to the living room, but this time, I couldn't focus. Every creak of the house made me jump. Then, I noticed something that made my stomach drop. My laptop's webcam light was on. I hadn't turned it on. A surge of panic shot through me. I slammed the laptop shut and scanned the room, my paperweight clenched tightly in my hand. Was someone watching me? And then the power went out. The house plunged into darkness, save for the faint moonlight filtering through the curtains. My heart pounded as I fumbled for my phone, using the flashlight to navigate. That's when I heard it, a faint whisper. "You're not alone." I froze, my blood turning to ice. The voice was coming from the living room, the same room I had just left. Gripping the paperweight, I turned slowly, my flashlight beam cutting through the dark. A shadow darted across the hallway, too quick for me to make out any details. "Who's there?" I shouted, my voice cracking. No answer. I backed toward the front door, my mind racing. The locks. I had locked the doors. Whoever this was, they were already inside. I reached for the doorknob, but before I could unlock it, a figure emerged from the darkness, a man, wearing a hood, holding a long kitchen knife. His face was partially obscured, but his eyes, they were cold and emotionless. "Don't scream," he said, his voice calm, almost casual. I didn't listen. I swung the paperweight at him with all my strength. He dodged easily, grabbing my wrist and forcing me to drop it. "You shouldn't have locked the doors," he said, his tone mocking. "Made it too easy to trap you." My fight or flight instinct kicked in. I broke free from his grip and bolted toward the stairs, slamming the bedroom door shut behind me. I locked it, my hands trembling uncontrollably. Outside, I could hear him walking slowly up the stairs, the sound of his knife scraping against the wall. "Where are you hiding?" he called out, his voice playful now. I searched desperately for a weapon, anything to defend myself. My eyes landed on the heavy lamp by my bedside. I yanked the cord from the wall and held it like a club. The doorknob rattled. "I'll find you," he whispered. I pressed myself against the far wall, my breathing shallow. Then, without warning, the door burst open. I swung the lamp with all my strength, hitting him squarely in the face. He stumbled back, cursing. I didn't wait to see if he recovered. I darted past him, down the stairs and out the front door. The police arrived within minutes of my frantic 911 call. They searched the house but found no sign of the man. No broken windows, no forced entry. But as they reviewed the footage from my laptop's webcam, they found something chilling. The man hadn't broken into the house that night. He had been living in the attic for weeks.